Welcome to H2K Infosys. H2K Infosys is a e-verify business based in Atlanta, Georgia, United States. We provide 100% job-oriented, instructor-led, face-to-face, true live online software training programs. It also includes access to cloud test lab with software tools. We provide live project for you to work on. We also provide assistance with mock interviews, resume preparation and review, and job placement assistance. H2K Infosys is trusted by so many students across the world. H2K Infosys provides world-class services in IT training with real-time project work for corporates and individuals, special IT training for MS students in the United States, software design, development, QA manual and automation, performance testing and maintenance, IT staff augmentation, job placement assistance, and tech support.
Okay. The rest of the people? Okay, cool, Sushil. So download the Devops server, and once after that, just like how you have configured the Tomcat server, you just need to configure the Devops server also by using servers tab and select the correct version for Devops and point to the Devops location. Today we'll be going to deal with EJBs, so EJB won't work with respect to web containers. It needs some EJB container, and the EJB containers are available only within application server. So that's the reason we need to have at least one of the leading application servers. So currently the open source one is JBoss, and we have plenty other application servers also, like WebLogic or WebSphere. But currently we will be going to use JBoss application server, and we'll be going to work on the EJB. Did you guys get a chance to take a look at the web service assignment? Click the diagram whichever that I have sent. Did anyone verify the diagram? If you guys have no issues, actually this is not an urgent one. You guys can practice during the weekend or next week also, but please practice this particular example, because this will be going to deal with all the scenarios, like how to make use of the complex type and how to communicate between client and server by using objects. So here, save employee details, accept a bean. And from client, when you are going to generate, you are going to send with respect to object only. And the right side part, the business logic part, is not required for you to do any changes for that. Only thing is, you just need to add one class, which is exception class. And the exception class is used to handle the so-called exceptions. And here you need to write a web service interface. See the right side part, this is same as that of our Struts plus Hibernate application. No changes. So here we are replacing Struts, and we are replacing the front end also, and we are just incorporating web service. And you'll be going to write the web service client, or you can test it directly from your SoapUI tool. So only additional point is you just need to create one exception class. So once after that, this is the request and response. Here you can see that we are sending get user data by employee ID, passing employee ID and password from the client. And you can see that the response has received with all the information from our database tables. This one, username, which has retrieved all the information. This one is related to our criteria query. So if you guys remember the from salary and to salary, and we have applied the criteria, get employee details by criteria, get employee list by criteria. So when you have specified this criteria, you can see that all the employees got returned and displayed into a list format. So finally, this one is for saving purpose. So you are sending some details, and at the server side, it is processing the request and saving the details into the database. And once after that, it is finally responding with the generated employee ID to the client. So please practice this particular web service, then only you will be able to understand web services properly. And this was related with our Log4j framework as well. So please integrate Log4j while you are developing client-side code or server-side code.
This is Sushil. Can I ask you a quick thing?
Yes, Sushil.
So when I write the program, obviously, I try to do a lot of cut paste, or I have to go back to the program that you have done in the past, previously in the past.
Okay.
So I think my question is really, is this something we should really not do a lot of copy paste and try to do it on our own, or it's okay to do copy paste? Because one thing that I realized that if you do a lot of cut paste, then you don't really write the code. You just
that means you weren't familiar with the class files and the classes first of all.
Yeah, and okay. I just wanted to hear you because I think I suffer from that where a lot of things are there on the Google and sometimes you can just search it and it's a quick way to do it, but I think it's not the probably better way to do it.
Even if you search in the Google also, normally what I prefer is I'll just take a look at the code and I'll write it on my own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, copy paste means you'll be able to understand the code, but you won't get familiar with the class names. If you type it on your own, you'll definitely get familiar with the class names and you'll be able to remember that.
Okay. Because I see that actually when you do it, you do it very, you really are in the flow when you do it. It's not the same case, but I guess if we do this, if all of us can do this, we can claim ourselves Java programmers. I think this is all the assignment for us. I think it's not a few hours,
Oh yeah, correct.
Yeah. Okay, but I think it's a good diagram to see. It really shows you the end-to-end flow of one process, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean this is from start to end. So this is a good diagram to see actually.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys are able to practice this one, you'll definitely get familiar with web services. And also the error handling kind of stuff. So that also you guys are supposed to work. Just like how we have handled with respect to soap fault or soap factory, you can also make use of that and write in your custom exception. It won't take much time. It's just like whatever the methods that are available in the processor, you are writing those methods again in your web service and making it as available for all accounts. So the same methods, you are just specifying it here instead of business logic, you specified at this place. Still it was available at this level only. It's just like interface access. Okay, let us come to today's class. Did anyone practice the web service program? Not the one which I have sent for the assignment, but just a small program. The addition or multiplication kind of stuff. Did anyone practice? Srinath, did you get a chance? Srinath? Yeah, please try to write at least one web service program by using our basic example, the addition or multiplication kind of stuff, and verify that using SoapUI tool. Sandeep, did you get a chance to work on the web service program, the basic example?
Yes, Krish, I did the basic thing. I just did
Okay.
an addition, some kind of
Okay. Okay, you are able to access from the client?
Yes, I was able to.
Oh, cool, good. Did you guys get a chance to verify why EJB 2.1 is heavyweight container? We'll be going to deal with EJB 3.0, but you guys should be aware of at least why EJB 2.1 is discarded or why it was called as heavyweight container. Then only whatever the differences that I have explained with respect to 3.0, you'll be able to understand. Please Google it for why EJB 2.1 is heavyweight container. Yep, let us start today's class. EJBs, Enterprise Java Beans. We'll be going to deal with the 3.0 first, and before that we'll be going to see what are the differences and the complexities that are available with respect to the older version. That is EJB 2.1. The EJBs, Enterprise Java Beans, is a platform for building portable or scalable or reusable business applications. By using EJB, you can generate components. Components, nothing but the business components. Yesterday we have seen, last time we have seen about the web services business interfaces. So before that era, in 1995 and all, you can say, so during the Java release, 1990s, and once after that, those guys have developed the solid for JSP kind of stuff. So they feel that if at all, if those are only used for web applications, and they want something new that can span across the enterprise. So during the startup days, they have released EJB, which is an enterprise application or enterprise components. And once after that only, all the remaining stuff came into existence. Either you can say Struts, Spring, or the web services kind of stuff. But during the startup days, EJB was very much used. So just like your credit card verification kind of stuff. So the credit card verification, let us take example credit card verification. See, all the merchants, whoever is going to bill for the client, they are supposed to validate the credit card first. So instead of communicating with each and every bank, what they will do is they will just go to the middle layer, and the middle layer will be going to contact the bank and will be going to verify whether the credit card details are valid or not. So from the client or from the merchant, you will be going to deal with a component. The component will be going to deal with actual business logic. actual business logic. The merchant will be going to talk to the component. So currently those are enterprise components because we'll be going to discuss over the web, or you can say between two different applications or the client server communication. It's not only over the web, it can be used for all the different purposes. The components are available in different flavors. We'll be going to see that what are all the flavors that are available. But for our credit card verification, currently all your banks, what they will do is they'll be going to place a middle layer, who will be going to write a component. That component is responsible to talk to the business logic and validate the credit card. Because for each and every merchant, the bank cannot provide a separate service or a separate handler to invoke directly. So that's the reason we need to have a separate component in between the merchant and the server business logic layer. So this is just like a small example. You can have several number of examples like client placing several number of bits. So whenever you went to an online shopping or let us say that it's a bidding option site, and you will be going to place several number of bids, and you will be going to auction for one particular item, and that will be going to reflect it into your cart. And once that item was auctioned, or if it was won by someone else, then automatically your cart will get empty. So that means on the same item here, you as a client working on that, and the admin has the capability of handling the same item. Because once the auction was won by someone else, the admin will be going to remove that particular item from your cart. So these type of strategies also will be going to use some kind of components. So currently we'll be going to use that business logic component for that particular case. And in the same way, let us say in a client server communication, client wants to send some messages to the server. Asynchronously in the sense the client won't expect any response. What he'll do is he'll just send a response to the server, and whenever the server is interested or whenever the server is up, he'll be going to get the message and he'll be going to process the request or store the data or any kind of stuff. And this kind of mechanism also available with respect to our components, our EJB components. So what the client will do is client will be going to push the message to a pipe. You can say just like a normal pipe. The client will sit here, server will be going to sit here. So these two are not in the same JVM. So they can be on remote JVMs, like they can be communicated over the web, or you can say if at all if they are working on the same project, so they can be connected using the LAN. So what the client will do is client will be going to push the message to a middleware server, and on the right side your normal server components. Your normal server components will be there. So whenever the client has sent a message, your middleware server will be going to receive that particular message and will be going to store that message in a pipe. So it will be going to store those messages. So once the server is up, let us say the server is up, it will be going to, what the server will do, the server will be going to listen to the middleware server. So the server will be going to listen to that particular pipe or channel, and if at all if there are any messages are available, then the server will be going to receive those messages and will be going to process those messages. So the client-server communication is very much important because in any kind of project, it won't be going to work on a single module. It will be going to contain several number of modules, and we need a communication between different modules. So here it can be a module 1 and here it can be module 2. But what we need, we want the communication between module 1 and module 2, and if at all if the module 2 was not up, or if the module 2 was not able to process the request at this point of time, you need to have some kind of mechanism to hold those messages. That will be handled by using a technology called JMS, Java Messaging Service. In your EJB modules, there is one specific bean that is available, which will be going to listen to this particular JMS and will be going to receive those messages. And the JMS has the option, like if at all if the server was or your bean was not ready, it will be going to store those messages, and whenever your server was up or your component was up, it will be going to send that particular message. This kind of mechanism, it was handled by using Java Messaging Service, or else there is one other technology which is MQ. This is message queuing. This was not related to our EJB, I'm just explaining for your purpose. The message queuing, it was developed by IBM and it is a paid one. To maintain MQ, message queuing, there is a tool called Data Power. This is middleware communication tool. Data Power is used as middleware communication tool. So if at all if it is a big project, people will be going to use MQ, and if it is a small one and we don't want the synchronous communication, because by using JMS you can only do asynchronous communication. And if you want the synchronous communication, by using JMS also you can do, but normally people will prefer MQ if at all if it is a big project, and if you want the logging kind of mechanism for all your messages, then they'll definitely go for MQ. Because JMS, it's not at all possible to take a look at the message once it has reached to middleware server. But for MQ, you have the option of verifying the messages, and you have the option of validating the messages, and if you want some kind of data transformation, that also you can do with respect to your MQ. But JMS won't provide those many capabilities. It will be just used only for storing the message and sending it on to the server. That's the whole purpose. Come back to our EJBs. EJBs, they are business components, mainly used for developing some business components, like you can develop a robust application, or highly scalable business application, or you can say reusable application. So by using EJBs, or once you have developed a enterprise Java bean and deployed onto a server, just like how you have deployed all your servlet for JSP application to a server, your enterprise Java bean application also will be developed and deployed onto a server. But instead of deploying onto a web server, you will be going to deploy it onto an application server. Just like your web container, which will be going to handle all the requests, all the HTTP requests, here in the application server, it contains another module which is EJB container. which is nothing but enterprise Java Bean container. See, EJB is a component, or you can say EJB is a framework when it was embedded with EJB container. So both enterprise Java Beans and EJB container will be going to called as EJB framework. Your EJB container will be going to provide a lot of functionalities. Or else let us take first of all what is the difference between web server and application server. Then we'll come back and see about EJB. Until now we have discussed about servlets or JSPs or Struts framework or any kind of stuff. All the requests are handled only in terms of by HTTP. Even yesterday also when we have used the web services, we have seen the SOAP requests are triggered by using the post method. So your web container or your web server will be going to handle only HTTP based requests. So whenever you want to perform certain business kind of stuff, let us say you want to call a method that is available on a remote server, and you are only interested in getting the response in terms of objects or in terms of normal primitive data, then it is not at all possible by using your normal web server. Your web server can communicate only based on the HTTP protocol, or the requests are also will go only based on HTTP. And the response at the most you can receive only in the form of HTML, static page or dynamic page. And your web server can only be used as a container for servlets and JSPs, because it contains only web container. But your application server, web server is also a part of application server. So that means your application server consists of container, be specific, web container and web server, and it also consists of another container which is EJB container, which is used for handling the business components. And it also provides several services. Your application server provides several services which are not at all available with respect to your web container. See, until now your web container, what it is doing, it is just receiving a request from that line and it is creating an instance and then directly handling it over to your servlet or JSP. It is not at all doing any kind of other stuff other than receiving the request and passing it on to your servlet. But your application server can do a lot of stuff. It consists of several services. It has the capability of maintaining the transaction management, and it has the capability of maintaining the data sources. Data sources nothing but until now we have used normal JDBC stuff. So whenever you have used driver manager.get connection, it will be going to retrieve only single connection. But your application server has the capability of holding a connection pool. So connection pool means which will be going to contain several number of connections and made it available to your application automatically. So you can specify how many number of connections you want. See, the connection pool is nothing but which consists of several number of connections and make it available to your application. You can just ask the data source. So data source also just like a name. You can ask the data source to get a connection. So then it will be going to get the connection from the connection pool instead of directly talking to the database. Because during the startup itself, it will be going to allocate some number of connections, whatever that you have specified in your application server. And in the same way, JNDI naming and directory interface. Java naming and directory interface. I'll show you a diagram. Yes. So just now we are discussing about the services. So these are all the services that are available. On the top, it consists of two containers. The first one is web container, which will be used for handling all the HTTP requests, and the EJB container, which will be going to handle all your business components requests. And your Tomcat web server. This is with respect to our Devops server. So your Devops internally contains Tomcat reference. And once after that, it will be going to contain several number of services. So the naming, which is nothing but your JNDI. JNDI is nothing but the abbreviation for that is Java naming directory and interface. The purpose of using JNDI is whenever you want to create an object, that will be used across the JVMs. Across the JVMs in the sense, you want to make it available to your remote client. So you are just creating one particular object and you want to make it available to remote clients. And so for that purpose, what you will do is you will be going to register that particular object in a naming and directory interface. So once you have registered the object in a JNDI, so all the remote clients in the sense, the application was not available within the same JVM. So those are all called as remote clients. See, even if I start one JVM from my Eclipse, and if I start one more JVM by using command prompt. So if you want to talk between these two JVMs, you need some kind of mechanism between those two JVMs. So if you want to access an object that is available on a remote JVM or another JVM, you need to have a definite identification for the object. So that identification will be going to provided by using the JNDI. So the JNDI is for registering your object by a specific name. And the next module is persistence. We have already discussed about persistence. Persistence, the JPA, which is used for contacting the database, or which will be going to represent a definite row in a table or an entity which represents a specific row in database. The persistence module, which will be going to talk to the database, and we have already explained related to JPA, which is our persistence framework. And the next one is transaction management. So the transaction management, normally transactions will follow the ACID properties, atomicity, isolation. I didn't remember the remaining four. I'm sorry. So ACID properties normally will follow to maintain a transaction. So whenever you are going to perform some credit card kind of stuff, let us say you have processed the credit card for one particular transaction. You are processing for one particular transaction, and you have billed the client or you have billed the credit card, but finally the transaction got failed. So at that point of time, you are supposed to revert the amount whatever that you have billed using the credit card. So those two operations should be performed, or else those two operations should be not at all performed. So either all the operations should be performed, or else the revert should also happen in the proper way. So for that purpose only the transactions will be going to come into the picture, and your application server has the capability of maintaining those transactions also. And the next one, messaging module. The messaging module, you have the option of directly contacting the JMS provider. You can just configure the JMS queues or topics on your application server, and your application server has the capability of receiving those messages and holding it at the server level until and unless your server has up and available to receive those messages. So there is one another module, messaging, that's also available at your application server. And the Java mail. The Java mail is nothing but it will be going to contact the SMTP port. The SMTP is which is used for mail communication, the mail exchange. So whenever you want to send a mail from your application, you will have the option of directly sending a mail by using SMTP port or the Java mail service. And you have the option of receiving those messages by using the SMTP port associated to your application server. It's just like our Tomcat, which has a GUI representation. We have already seen the Tomcat GUI representation. So in the same way, your application server also has the capability of displaying all the information in terms of GUI, the GUI representation. But the GUI representation is not like your Tomcat. It has more flexibility. The JMS messaging related stuff, you can easily configure based on the GUI representation. No need to go and edit any kind of XML files, or no need to go and verify or any kind of log files. You have the option of verifying them in the GUI representation itself. Not only the messaging kind of stuff. If you want to do the load balancing kind of stuff, or if you want to create a certain number of servers, or if you want to maintain a managed server or a clustering, so those kind of stuff, they are not at all available with respect to your web server. They are only available with respect to your application server. See, if you are working only for a small project, then it will be fine if you go ahead with only one server, and there is no requirement for load balancing kind of stuff. But if you are handling a big project which might receive 1,000 requests per second, so in that case, your single server is not at all capable of handling all the requests. Your threads will be going to sit idle, or your threads will be going to sit busy, and all the remaining requests will be going to keep idle. So in those cases, in production or setting environment or lab environment kind of stuff, normally people will deploy it as a cluster box or managed servers box. Cluster nothing but there are several servers available which will be going to manage under a single admin, which will be going to share the resources or the application. But all the servers will be going to maintained by a single admin server. It will be like a single admin server will be going to sit at the top level, which will be going to contain several low level managed servers. And finally, the deployment. By using GUI representation, you have the option of deploying the application, or if you don't want the application to be running, you have the option of stopping the application. And the advantage is it's not required for you to restart the server. If you want, you can just stop that particular service or stop that particular business component, and that will be going to undeploy from the server. So the GUI representation will be going to provide all these options, whatever that we have discussed, and we'll be going to see with respect to our application, Devops application server.
So many of our students have given testimonials on how our training programs are. You will find them on kudzu.com and on our website H2KInfosys.com. On our website H2KInfosys.com, you will also find more detailed information on who we are, the courses that we offer, what each course covers. Also, if you're interested in a demo program, please register on our homepage on the left-hand side. Just give us more information about yourself and we will send you a link for a demo class. The demo class is absolutely free. Experience our commitment by just attending an orientation workshop at no cost. Our team of faculty and advisors are here to guide you with the right information. If you still have more questions, please feel free to call us. Call us at 770-777-1269. This is a United States number. If you're calling from the UK, call us at 020-337-17615. You can also email us at training@h2kinfosys.com or h2kinfosys@gmail.com. Thank you for watching our videos. We wish you a great career in information technology.